Tens of thousands of workers across Indonesia laid off because of COVID-19 outbreak. It is one of the news articles I found in Jakarta Post published in April 2020. A couple months later, another news article that I read is from CNN Indonesia published in July. The title says, total number of workers getting laid off due to corona reached 3 million. Can you imagine? Can you imagine millions of people lost their job due to corona? And there is even possibility that the number keeps increasing during pandemic. Millions of people do not receive any income and they have to use any remaining money in order to survive. Then, what should we do about it? What can government do to solve this problem? Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Dedi and I'm from Polytechnic Bumi Apen Semarang. I am standing here before you all to share my 2 cents related to this problem. Without further ado, I will begin to explain my speech entitled Ways to Deal with Unemployment During COVID-19 Pandemic. We know that in this pandemic mess, all sectors are experiencing a downturn. It does not only happen in Indonesia, but the whole world also experiences the same thing. COVID-19 pandemic inevitably forces a number of regions to implement large-scale social restrictions, or it is popularly known as PSBB in Indonesia. It is one of the government strategies to prevent the possible spread of the coronavirus. Well, I am sure that all of you are familiar with the term of PSBB, but I would like to explain it briefly. Large-scale social restriction or PSBB is a limitation of specific activities of a particular region that is suspected of COVID-19 infection. The scope of restriction includes 1. Closure of school and workplace. 2. Restriction of religion activities. 3. Limitation of activities in public places and facilities. 4. Limitation of social cultural activities. And 5. Limitation of transportation modes. Now, you may be questioning how this restriction is related to my speech, which is about unemployment. As I mentioned earlier, one scope of restriction is the closure of school and workplace, including in business sectors. Well, business is not entirely closed, but there are only few businesses that are allowed to keep running by limiting the number of workers, such as central government offices as well as commercial and industrial companies that serve people, interests, and provide essential needs. Companies that are currently struggling for profitability are those companies with low cash reserve or unstable cash flows. These companies are particularly vulnerable and they are struggling so hard to survive amid the situation of COVID-19. Some companies are no longer able to run their business. They are substantial decline in sales or even COVID situation of COVID-19. They experience substantial decline in sales or even a conflict of situation. As a result, many companies are to lay off and terminate their employees. Ladies and gentlemen, the pandemic certainly unemployment rate in Indonesia. The National Development Planning Agency or Bappenas estimate that the open unemployment rate or TPT in 2020 will reach 8.1 to 9.2%, and the unemployment rate is estimated to increase by 4 to 5.5 million people. In order to overcome unemployment during COVID-19, several strategic steps are needed. As a first step, the government needs to be developed unemployment map. It is done by identifying and mapping sectors. Individuals and communities are most vulnerable to the negative impact of the COVID-19. At this stage, data related to layoff, especially mass layoff, must be collected based on the region and sectors. At the same time, the economic sectors experiencing a high increase in unemployment needs to be monitored in real time. The second step is controlling the unemployment rate of TPT. It is done by providing expansion of stimulus industries. Industry stimulus must be implemented. Fiscal incentive must be continued. And soft loans for working capital must be realized so that production can continue again. In addition, cash-intensive programs in the region must also be implemented in order to recruit workers. The infrastructure projects are continued. There is recruitment of workers. Ladies and gentlemen, to realize all of this effort, it is not only the government that has handled everything alone, but we also must contribute and support so that they run properly. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all the speech for me. I hope it will be useful for all of us. And thank you very much for your nice attention.